live in an area where more people will come through our town than Onekama, so it's easier for them. I mean, not a lot of people are gonna drive, because it's kind of out there on its own. We kind of are pass-throughs. So I do imagine you are correct, and I know you're correct, that people from other communities do put recycling in that, but
Even though they have their own recycling.
some communities do, some communities don't. I don't think a lot of the communities in Irons have local trash.
No.
They don't. So that's, when you get down, and I don't wanna misspeak, I don't wanna Sobel or Eden or any of those townships, there are townships around us that do not have a local trash pickup, or not pickup, but drop-off point. It's up to those folks to buy their own trash, and it can be up to $95 every 3 months is what I've heard. I think Ben said he pays over $450 a year up in Mesick. So in the past, the reason why we've done more with the cards and why we charge for those cards and we charge for lost cards is we had folks, I think Jordan and Jason, we were all present one day where one guy just admitted that, I bought 4 or 5 cards to give them to my neighbors and friends down in Irons. And I don't want to say Irons, south of us,
right,
outside of our area. So we have become a little bit more strict on where we give the cards to, because for $5, hey, I can save my neighbors $450. But then that goes on the bill of the Norman Township. So that's why we are.
I've heard a lot of people doing that.
Yeah, and we've really cracked down on that. That is another reason why we cracked down on, back in 2008, 2010, when you had all the foreclosures. We had some people that were running businesses up here, foreclosure businesses. And they brought up 24-foot trailer. We all saw it. I think Mary was there too. 24-foot trailer with 8-foot plywood sides full of their repo houses. And the people of Norman Township paid for that. Because we didn't have rules at that time. That's why we have the 1 truckload limit, and then you pay half of the going rate after your 3 yards. So it's 3 yards free. After that, I think this year we charge either $15 or $16 a yard, which is half of what they're charging at the dump. So it still is advantageous for you to bring it here. It's much cheaper, less gas, less expense. So we try to make it without being really strict on the trash, but also try to make it prevent abuse.
Right.
So
as far as that goes, since it's not a moneymaker, recycling, but of course I would like to see people recycle.
Yep.
Is there any ways, can you collaborate with other townships? So that we're not the only ones paying for everyone to use it?
I had another supervisor who will remain nameless from a township south of us, and he called me and goes, how much you make on that recycling? I said, we make nothing on that recycling. See, what it is the trash and the recycling doesn't cost that much more a yard, but when we have that dumpster, the compactor dumped, it's $350 plus a delivery charge. It's like $400 and some every time that's changed, plus the yardage, plus so much a ton, okay? That recycle bin does not get compacted, so there's maybe 1 or 2 yards in there compared to 20 to 23 yards. It's the same pickup and switch fee.
Right.
So when you add that on there, I think, and I don't want to misspeak, but I believe it was like $80 to $95 a yard to get rid of recycling. It was $40 a yard to get rid of trash. So it was double, and I think my numbers are correct. This was about 2 or 3 years ago that I did these numbers, but it is almost double, if not more than double, to get rid of recycling. Recycling is not.
Because it has to be sorted.
It has to be sorted.
Right.
It is not a moneymaker. It is a loss leader for us. It would be cheaper for us to have all that trash go into the dumpster.
Richard.
But that's not good for the community. Yes, sir.
Do some research. I watched a program on the History Channel about 3 years ago, and it's the history of plastic. And we're paying to have it shipped to China, which they're not accepting it, and they're just dropping off other islands and in the ocean. And they did say only 3% of plastic is getting recycled.
Yep. I mean,
And is it actually feasible to do the recycling since only 3% is getting recycled?
that would be up to the community to tell me what they wanted to do. I mean, like I said, fiscally, I know where I want to be on that. responsible for our planet and our planet's future.
I
You know what I mean? So that's,
I
unless the
understand
community
that.
says, no, we don't wanna recycle,
I
then
would
we
rather
won't.
see the plastic in the landfill instead of somebody's backyard or on the road,
Yeah,
is my point.
yeah. So we recycle because it's the appropriate, I believe it's the appropriate thing to do, but if the community tells us we don't wanna do that, then we won't do it, so. Yeah.
One more question, because you've brought up last few meetings about, the value of $1,000 or more of your property
Mhm.
to get a transfer station ticket. I know a lot of people, they come up for the weekends, they have nothing except, say, 2 acres of property.
Mhm.
Are they allowed to get the card for the transfer station?
Yes, they can buy one for the 28 or 58, 27. Sorry, they can't get one for the $5. I mean, they would have to pay what you pay. So if they use it 3 times a year, they still pay what the full-time resident
Oh,
would
so
pay
they
for
have
that.
to pay, because it's not taken out in their taxes,
No, it's,
so they have to pay for the what it would be in the taxes for that card.
yeah, see, everything in our tax bill, we get very little of what Norman Township receives in taxes. It goes to the state, it goes to the county, and they give us some of that back. Our millage for our fire, for our ambulance, that comes to us. And then why it's called a special assessment is because this township, this governing body decided to offer trash. Norman Township didn't have trash years back. Do you know how long ago was it always since you've been here? To trash, or is that something that they started before or
I
after?
lived up here in the early 90s. we had
98 was
trash
when I
back
started.
then.
So
When
they
I was a
started
kid,
at
we had
90
Fishers as trash.
Yeah, they
We used
started
to
at
go pick stuff
98
up.
with this type of system,
This
so,
type, or, cause
Yeah.
I remember 93, I was taking trash in.
yeah, so this system has been since 98, and like I said, a lot of communities don't, we don't do trash, you
No, I
call your own
realize
provider,
that.
It
so,
was $11 a year in '98.
yeah, it was a,
11 to get rid of your garbage.
well, when I started, it was 40, and now we're up to 58, 27, so,
Yeah, but if you had to go rent a dumpster or pay for it, it's,
a lot more,
yeah, that's
Yeah.
nickels on a dollar we're paying,
yeah, so.
very feasible.
Any other public comment on the trash?
Yeah, it's getting really stinky over there on the other side of the town. No,
What
seriously,
do you mean, stinky lid?
over by Jordan's there, the corner house, you go by there, man, it reeks.
Oh,
Like
well,
trash.
that's, yeah, that's something
Yeah,
else we gotta
bad.
deal with, okay.
Dead bodies.
All right, so, I need a motion, if there's no more public comment, I need a motion to adjourn the special assessment hearing.
We don't need them. Well, yeah, we do. Oh, yeah.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Sorry.
Merrill made it,
I'll second it.
Jason seconded it, all in favor? Aye.
Too many meetings here.
Yeah. Nays, no, okay, so, the election commission meeting is next, and I will turn that over to Mary, that's her meeting to run.
Get my paperwork here somewhere. Okay. Okay, we'll call election commission meeting to order at 7:10. The purpose of this meeting is to approve the election inspectors that will be working on the primary election on August 2nd. And those workers are Barb Goody, Pat Grease, Laura Corella, Catherine Rice, Elaine Smirka, and Mary Kay St. John. So I need a motion to approve those election inspectors.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Is there any public comment on the election commission meeting? No. Okay. I'll make a motion to adjourn the election commission meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, adjourned.
Okay, all right, now, now that those are over, we can start, our regular, board meeting, and I just need a motion to approve the consent agenda. I'll make that.
I'll second it.
Jordan, Merrill, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 5-0 there.
Oh, and
Yes,
I
ma'am.
don't think the poverty guidelines are on the agenda, so you might wanna mention that.
Oh, yeah, Mary wrote these in.
I didn't-
We have a poverty guideline, resolution to accept. It's the same guidelines as we did earlier. There was a clerical error. There was just an error.
So it's number 3 on the agenda.
Yeah, it's number 3 on the agenda. It's the exact same
Sorry.
one, same federal guidelines. It was just an error in printing, and I just caught it, so I wanted to correct that. We're just gonna readopt it with the corrected. It was one line got cut off on the second page there, so. Okay, so, all right, so we can go right into reports. Chief, what you got?
Well, we had, 4th of July was a huge success. When we had the kids, we set up, I borrowed a wall from Bear Lake Fire Department with little flames in the windows, and the kids sprayed water. And I'm estimating somewhere between 75 and 100 kids came through.
Awesome.
And we handed out little black fire hats, you know, that said Norman Township on them, and they were just going crazy over it. So that went really well. Everything's going really good. We're running 1, 2, sometimes 3 runs a day right now. And so, it's been moving right along. Otherwise, everything is good. Yeah, everybody's playing nice and yeah, it's good.
Good.
But 4th of July was a huge hit. So, that's all I got.
Awesome. Okay. Ambulance, everything good?
Everything's good.
Okay. Assessors report, I'll give that. We've been out doing the 20% state required yearly rechecks. So basically what that means is we just go by and look at property, see if we notice anything's changed, see if we notice anything is new. Found a lot of sheds that had been removed, fencing that had been, wooden fencing that had rotted away and removed. So we actually did a lot with that. Found a couple of people that should have had PREs that didn't have them, so we got those. I completed that about 2 weeks ago. I won't be doing anything else in Norman Township until probably August, where we'll basically be doing the permits and sales checks, where people that pulled permits over the last couple of years that aren't done with their work, new permits, and sales, where we do our sales study. July border review is next, is it 19th? Next Tuesday on the 19th. It's on 19th at 6 o'clock. That's just for errors and omissions. That's not for, you can talk about, argue your assessment. That's November border review. So that's it for the assessor. Custodian, Tim, what you got?
I'm sure most everybody knows we got the basketball hoops in within the last month between me, Jason, supervisor, and all your 8-foot kids.
I was gonna ask too, why we're on this, are we gonna pull those other 2 hoops out? Cause that'll, if we go further down this for the seal coating, we'll have to have those removed when we go to start that.
Yeah, I'll get on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, don't do it by yourself. We'll get you.
I'll help.
Come, boys, come on. Oh, I fried my grinder, and I think Tim's got pretty hot, so they heat up. Those are thick poles.
I could bring some cutting torches down there.
Yeah, I
They'll
think
come
the
right out.
one that spins, we might just try to see if
Pull
it
out.
slides right out of the hole, but,
Yeah.
so anyhow, and I don't know, I haven't seen anybody, I don't go through there at the right times, but it looks like they've been used, they got
They get used a
basketball
lot.
scuff marks on
On the glass.
on the glass part, so.
They actually had a pretty big game over there the other day.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
gotcha.
So
And then
That
at
was
that
nice to
same
see.
time, when we were doing those, we had cement poured for the trash out back, so the varmints don't crawl underneath, and if I have to hose it off, at least it's staying clean back there, a lot better than dirt. The little bit of a concern with the trash back down by the backwaters, but I'm doing what I'm doing to keep it up. I took the trash away because they were getting knocked over by our friendly black bears and whatever other animals. So when I took them away, it was doing pretty good. I had a couple of cases of beer cans stuffed with trash nicely, and then it went to pot after the 4th of July. So then I put the trash back, and now they're overflowing. I wasn't getting there every single day, but now I have to get there every day, cause otherwise they're gonna just be full with a can, so. Tried coming up with a couple of different ways, but they're either way too expensive to keep bears from, they can tip them over, but it's a locking lid. If I came up with something to close the lid and put like bungees on, people aren't gonna close them, so. If something comes up, I'll come up with something, or if somebody has a brilliant idea, throw it out to me.
Didn't you say a bear-proof trash
Open
can
season.
was $4,000?
The ones that they use, the feds use, like at Blacksmith Bayou, I researched those. They're completely animal proof. You gotta put your hands inside these little things. Some of them were, the cheaper ones were $2,000, but the ones that they got are $4,000. And I figured,
Crazy.
I won't look at those no more. They do sell other ones, like the ones that I'm using that we got at the park. They're show video of bear jumping on them, and they actually have a lid that latches, but those are $850, and I'm like, people aren't gonna close them. They're gonna flip them open, throw their stuff in, and not close them. And so I just gotta get down there more, and hopefully. And if I have to pick up a little bit of trash, I gotta pick up trash. I just don't want it blowing in the lake, cause Jason said he had that a few years ago, and I'm not going swimming to fish out a trash can out of the. I do have them secured to the post now, cause I got the cement pad with the post that comes up. I have them secured to that, so hopefully they won't blow away or get knocked over, but when they get overfilled and people throw their trash next to them, I can't fix that, so.
Tim,
And I
there's
told-
a trash can right at the boat launch too, isn't there?
No, we took
It's
that
up
one
by
out.
the outhouse?
Yes.
Alright.
No.
That one kept going into the lake.
I put
Right.
both down there now, and I secured it too.
Okay.
But if I see that it's overflowing every day or every other day, and there's trash gonna blow around, then,
Yeah, they have to go.
but
I mean,
they're
and
just gonna pile it up there anyhow, cause that's what they did over the 4th. There was nothing down there, and they just, I took 8 bags out of there, just laying on the ground.
we get a lot of people, and I told Tim, I said, you know, you use your discretion. If the bears are down there tearing up every night, and you're spending an hour and a half every day picking up trash, you know, people, if they packed it in, they can pack it out. You know, it's there for convenience, but we're not gonna have him chasing down trash for 2 hours every morning out of his 8-hour day either. I mean, that we can't do that, but yeah, use your discretion. We trust you 100%, so however you need, whatever you need to do there. Yep.
So the transfer station had a little bit of a glitch on Saturday from what I heard. I think Bill tried calling me, but they supposedly shut it down about 20 minutes before because they thought it was full. And Jason had to help me just pull the door because the little sensors on there, it wasn't communicating, so when they shut the door, it stopped running. And
Oh.
they supposedly thought it was full.
Okay.
I fixed that.
Okay.
So, oh, the well at the cemetery. We spent some money on it, got it going good, but there's another issue. I think I'm gonna unplug it because we're gonna burn it up. There's 3 people from what I see using sprinklers. One they have on a timer. They bought one of those, they just screw it right to the faucet. They put a Y on it so other people can use it. That sprinkler today was supposed to be moving, and it wasn't moving. So I turned the faucet on to see if I could get the pressure to drop and then go back up, and it didn't. Then I noticed another one turned a sprinkler on in their flower garden. I opened the door to the well, and it was about 120 degrees in there. That thing's just running and running and running and running and running.
Okay.
So, and I've heard Mary hit me up on one, and I went there and I said, it's working. And then somebody else stopped me and said, while my sprinkler's going, it's going good, and then I'll go back there and it's barely running.
I don't think they should be hooking sprinklers to them personally.
I called Peterson today, and they're so far behind that they said the cemetery will be put on the back burner, cause we have so many homes that we have to take care of first.
The one particular sprinkler that's on, it stays on for hours on end.
Okay. How deep is that well? Do you guys know? Is
From
that
what
a,
I'm-
is that a 4-inch well or is that a small well?
That's small,
It's
that's inch
small,
and
and from what I'm hearing and Peterson talking, it's probably only 20 feet deep.
I think it's 22, it's not very much.
It could be getting low too.
Well,
I doubt
somebody made the
that.
comment, without all the rain, the water table might be getting low and we need to wait, and it's,
Yeah.
the well point could be getting, there could be a lot
Right.
of different issues.
Clogged up. Well, so for now, does the board have a problem with, hey, no sprinklers, you wanna water, you
No
hand
problem at
water?
all.
You hand
I have no
water,
problem with
you
that.
can't leave them. You guys okay with that? So Tim,
Cause if we leave it running, it's just gonna burn that pump up.
if you wanna, next time you're there, nicely, you know, put a little note, you know, get out there in public, I don't know if you know who they are, I can go talk to them. You
I know
who they are?
who it is.
Okay, and we'll just say for right now, we're having well issues, it's overheating, you know, and Peterson can't get there, so if we blow it up, we'll be without water, so if you know who it is, just
Yeah,
say
'cause
for
they
right
go
now.
early in the morning, they let it go for about 4 hours, and then they come back about 4 o'clock and let it go to dark.
Yeah, no, we'll just
So-
hand water only on this.
I'll hit you up, I think I got the 3 if I look
Yeah.
at the right, who I'm thinking.
Okay.
2 for sure I know, the other one I'm not 100% sure, but.
Yeah, we
One
can't
of
risk
them
it.
will, one of them will be,
And I get it, but
Irate.
if we burn it up, then there's nothing.
Peterson said grass will go dormant, it'll come back.
Well, if they wanna take a hose and sprinkle it for 20 minutes, fine.
I asked her
all
if
it
she
really
wanted to
needs.
come to this meeting to let everybody know that, she said no.
Send her an electric bill for running it.
Yeah, so
Don't
let's,
stop her.
yeah, and
Anyhow.
if you don't want to, if you want me to talk to him or Jay, we can talk to him. We'll
Right.
just, and just say, right now, there's something wrong, and we don't wanna burn it up. We just put $800 or more into it, so,
Yeah.
yeah, okay,
Alright, that's it.
thank you. Management council, oh, thank you. Pretty slow on rentals this month. We have a wedding, birthday party, and besides that, just the usual, material girls, seniors, karate, jammers type of stuff, so. A little bit slow, but July always kinda seems to be, is. Next year should be busier, we got a lot more kids from Boston graduating next year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My kids will be graduating next year.
Yeah, mine too. All right, so Jordan, Parks and Rec.
Pretty much just the same old, other than the stuff that we have on the list for on the agenda.
All right.
Don't forget your lights are working out too.
Lights.
Oh, all the lights around the park,
Oh,
Consumer's got them
yeah.
all fixed, yeah. Yep, Jay got that called and taken care of there, so. All right, Jason, you got anything for planning?
We are gonna try, well, so we don't go back to planning till October. And in the meantime, we're gonna start looking through the master plan and we're going to come up with a deal to simplify it so it's user friendly. So people can actually read it and understand it. And that's about all I got there.
So you got summer homework, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the master plan can be fun.
Sure.
Sure, to read. All right, and then zoning,
Nothing from Bob.
nothing for Bob. I've seen quite a few, land use applications coming through, so, building around here is still pretty busy, so. So now we'll go to public communications. Anybody signed up over there, Jay?
Well, she was for that, but I.
Is that what you wanted? Did I
That's
answer your
Jill.
question, Jill? Did I-
I guess so. I mean, there's nothing that can, it's hard, you did. I mean, it's hard to, monitor something like that when you're open 24/7, I understand. And if, especially when you have the cardboard trailer, which is open to the public. So, I mean, I understand, but I don't,
We don't, yeah, I mean, we don't,
I don't really think it's right that we pay for it and everybody uses it.
it would cost us more to have somebody monitor it than to, you know,
True,
people say,
and
we'll
that's
get.
why I thought collaboration with maybe Lake County or,
And like I said, when I talked to their supervisor, as soon as they found out it doesn't make money, they wanted nothing to do with recycling.
Right.
So, that's, yeah. You know, and if people say, well, get cameras. I call the sheriff because somebody dumped off recycling. He will laugh, I'll hear him laugh as he hangs up the phone. You know, they're just too busy. So we'll try to do it, and that's why we don't really publicize our trash, stuff like that. I mean, we just don't. We try to keep it just as an in-house community thing. So. But some people do abuse it. Yes, ma'am?
I'm sorry, I didn't know I had to
No,
sign
that's
up.
okay.
This is my first meeting. I do have something to a concern, and that's why we're here. Northwood subdivision in zoning, that we wanted to bring, the zoning ordinance is not being followed with our deed restrictions.
Okay, we have zoning ordinance, but deed restrictions are up to the subdivision. And I don't believe that subdivision has a, see, this is where, like downstate, you know how you have, what do you call them, subdivision boards or community boards in those subdivisions? Associations, thank you. They're the ones that enforce that stuff,
Okay, but.
but you don't have one.
But the zoning ordinance, 1071 and 1080 is still not being followed.
Which ones of those? I don't. I'll
The
bet.
dwelling and, temporary dwelling. Cause
Okay.
campers are being allowed in there and it's zoned for residential. So people are basically camping in that area.
They're camping on their own property.
Yeah.
And what you're saying is they're getting the 180-day permit.
Some don't have permits. Some lots have 2 and 3 campers on there.
Okay, if you turn those into Bob and say that these don't have that, then he will go out there and.
And, okay, where do I turn that in?
He is here on Tuesdays
And Fridays.
and Fridays, yes. It's
I
our
have a
zoning
question though.
Yes,
They're
ma'am.
not supposed to be camping in there at all, if there's deed
You have to
restrictions.
file a violation.
But see, that's,
Yeah,
you have to file a
that's where the
violation.
lawsuit comes in.
It's not the deed restrictions are not township ordinance. That's where it gets tricky because that subdivision should have an association. That's why when people from your associate with that from that area will come and they'll say, well, why are you not taking care of our roads? Because it's a private subdivision. So it's a weird who has authority over that. And the deed restrictions, we really don't have, authority over the deed restrictions. We have over township zoning. We didn't write the deed restrictions. The deed restrictions were written by the people that
But they
broke up the
still
sub-
have the zoning and they have to follow the zoning, so somebody should be checking to make sure zoning's being followed.
Mhm. And we do, and we try to send them out whenever people call. You know,
Okay.
they're not always driving around the subdivision and stuff like that. So if there are parcels that you have trailers on that you're worried about, I mean, under our zoning, they can have the trailer there, I don't know if it's 1 or is it 2? For up to
180 days.
180 days is what they can have,
And it has to be moved.
and then it has to be moved.
But can they do that every summer? Don't they have to have electricity? Don't they have to?
Not in our, no, because we have a lot of unimproved parcels where people will bring their fifth wheel up for the summer and then they'll come back up for any camper, pop up, whatever. Will come up for hunting season and they can be there for that. You know, some people just bring it for October 1st through, November 30th. And they're up there for the hunting. And that's where a lot of that comes from.
Deed restrictions don't mean anything.
No, it does.
They do, but that's where it's a court case amongst the people there in that subdivision. It's kind of like the subdivision should have an association, and the association you all pay dues in, and then there's an association board, and then an association board then, when somebody goes against their deed restrictions, that's when they would then take that association money and take them to court. And those people have to pay.
Which they did 20 years ago.
Yeah, and that's what really stinks when people do those private subdivisions. It limits us a little bit, because, yeah, the deed restrictions are there, but it's up to the homeowners association to do
We
the
don't
law.
have a voters association.
Yeah, I know, so the deed restrictions are not really we know they're there, but they're not enforceable by us. Mr. Stapley, our former board member, put that out there, and I'm like, he didn't understand, being on this body, that there's a deed restriction and there's zoning. The township implements zoning, that's our law, that's our rules. The deed restrictions are put in by the people and the association permit every summer. Now, if you wanted to get a group of people, you could probably, start an association and send a letter out, and then you would then be able to take those folks to court. I guess the best person would be to ask Bob on that. I mean, he's more familiar than I am with how that works exactly.
Is there still a complaint form?
Yeah, he has one.
Okay.
Yep. And if you want to talk after, you can make that complaint to me. I'll make sure I get it to Ben on Friday.
Okay.
Okay, and we can do that. Just kind of tell me whereabouts it might be, where they might be, and do have the trailer permit for the 180, you know, so 180 days. But if there's more than one or the two, no, let's go ahead, man, what you have?
What about those stupid porta potties they've got sitting on the yard?
Once again, I mean, that's their property, it's they own it. I mean, if I had a large group of people coming up, I can put a porta potty on my property. Yeah, I have a house there, I understand your concern. It's kind of like, and I've said it before, we can zone the heck out of everything until it's not a fun place to live. I would never live in Grand Rapids in these associations that my brother-in-law lives in, because it's very restrictive. So it's like we play that balancing act of letting people use their property the way they want to, but also having it so that we can stop people from being being a disturbance to others. In Mary's subdivision, we have some people that play very, very loud music and they know the rules, and at 11 o'clock, they shut it off, or close to 11 o'clock, they shut it off. I've had complaints on that. And so we have it. We want you to be able to have a party and play music, occasionally, because you think, okay, we might do that on a birthday party, graduation party. But some people like to abuse it and do it all the time. And they like to push their neighbors. I personally don't want to tick off my neighbors, because I might have to ask them a favor one day, but you do. I've had people complain about people shooting guns and different things, and 6 months later they're friends again. We do tend to upset people, but when it comes to your deed restrictions, that's where your subdivision, the people that live in that subdivision, they brought this, and I don't want to be mean, they brought this kind of on themselves when the association fell apart. That's why your roads are the way they are there. That's why,
There was never an association.
There was never one there?
No.
Okay. You can form one.
The Fishers was supposed to take care of the roads, and they do a pretty good job. I don't blame them for anything on the roads, they're gravelled, they're smoothed out and everything else. But what I complain about is having a porta potty sitting in the corner of my lot, and that disturbs me terribly. I've been here since 1972, and I've never made a complaint against anybody. And that's terrible. It should be, and you can't talk to your neighbors and ask them to vote for different. I can call the police on them. No, but can you talk to them? I mean, will they, if you go over to, they refuse to move?
I don't know, they're new, they just bought the property.
The health department, not to interrupt, still allows outhouses on your property as well, so be grateful it's not an outhouse.
We have a couple of Mary subdivision that have outhouses.
You're Mary Kay St. John?
No, Mary Soul. This is Mary Soul.
You're Mary Soul. I didn't recognize you, sorry. We all get aged.
And man, we're not trying to be, I would like to help you, and we'll try to help you in any way we can, but maybe the first attempt would be to ask the neighbors, hey, we smell the porta-john, can you please move it to a different location on your property? And who knows, maybe they're new, maybe they want to be friendly. I don't know on that. And that would be the first attempt that I don't know. So, but if we did have something in zoning on that, yeah, then we could, but the deed restrictions is not township zoning. It's been put in by somebody else. That's like somebody else writing a rule and saying the township, you gotta follow that. Okay, the state can do that, but.
Well, yeah,
not
because
private.
there's a realtor that's trying to sell property saying you don't have to have a permit and you can,
Permit for what?
to camp on another vacant lot in there.
No, you wouldn't for a tent.
Yeah, well,
You
that's
wouldn't
how
for
they're
a tent.
advertising the property for sale.
Well, real estate always is, in my other line of work, the new thing is people don't understand why their taxes are so high, because when, you have capped taxes, when grandma and grandpa own a property for 30 years, and they're paying $800 a year in taxes,
Right,
and you
and
buy
then you
it,
sell it.
and now you're paying $4,000 a year in taxes,
Right.
well, why am I, well, because it's called capped and it just came uncapped.
Yeah.
So, yeah, real estate agents don't always tell you that. They're
Right.
good people, but they don't always tell you
Right.
that, so.
They're their best friend till they get the check.
Right. That first year payment goes up.
I didn't sign it either.
There you go, Bill, what you got?
I don't wanna, this is pretty simple. I met with some community people. I tried to involve all the groups. We wanna start a fundraiser for July Parks to help the board.
Yep, I got that to talk about, yep.
And I know that I heard that you were talking about doing it later in the month. And I like social media as much as you do, and you know how it goes crazy. But, and I asked all the groups. I asked, Wellston Excel, I asked, Denise Cummings, and so far everybody's on board. But we wanna do a whole day of 4th of July, or actually, we were looking at the 1st of July, and then a rainy day being the 3rd, which is a weekend before the 4th. Of course, we haven't got all the plans put together, but we do know that for the fireworks company, they have to have your signature and the board's approval to shoot them at Crystal Lake. And that's what, I guess I'm asking that, is that we get this together, let us present this to the board, maybe put us on the agenda maybe next month. And I mean, I've got people offering me $3,500 already just with donations. Danny and I did a roundup program at the bar for Worst Warriors. In 6 months, we raised $4,000 for Worst Warriors. It was very simple. But just some of the ideas we have, maybe something new, maybe take the weight off the township. It comes out to have a decent fireworks, and I don't mean just the fireworks, I mean to clean up the park, the sanitation, porta-johns. I mean, if you go by the state ruling, it calls for 18 porta-johns, just by the number of residents here, and 4 of those have to be handicapped. That's expensive, it really is. And that's what we're all looking into. And I'm just tired of the rumors. I'm tired of this person blaming this person, and that person say, oh, I offered $10,000, they turned me down. I don't want none of that. I just want it to have, I mean, I talked at the bank, I talked to Megan, if we do it as an annual thing, like if you need a tax deduction, if anybody in the community needs a tax deduction, it'd be all set up at the bank, you go in there, you donate $20, they give you a tax receipt right on the spot. I mean, it would, so many different ideas that came out of our first meeting. And I mean, there's so much could be done more. And I mean, what do we got? 3 or 4 fundraisers going on right now? And you send things into a post office box. But there's no advertisement for it.
Yeah, I don't know who, I mean, I know Wellston Excel was doing stuff for the playground equipment, but we bought that.
Yeah. I know there's one for the Veterans Park that you want.
Yeah, that was going through boosters.
Yes,
and
Denise Cummings, yes.
They did that, and we talked to her about that because we're gonna have some silhouettes done when we get our concrete circle
Right.
done. Andy Priest is gonna do them, we just gotta pay for the steel, and
Right.
the money they've already raised, which was like $700, they're gonna use for
Yeah.
that. Denise gave me the okay to do that. Yeah, so, and that was gonna be my thing, I actually have a thing for me to talk in public comment, it was gonna be about that.
Okay.
And the reason why we didn't do this is if I would've done this in July, or June, I mean, then people would have thought, we're having fireworks this year. I wanted to make sure we got through the 4th before we started talking about
Yeah.
the different groups.
Well, there's a lot of people that complained, and I mean, because they didn't know people from out of state. A lot of them went to other communities and celebrated the 4th, which the businesses here hurt from that. And it just, there's so much more we could do. And I retired in February, so I'm here full time now, so I can help do more. And it's great. I mean, it's just like when you were doing the coats for the kids. I mean, last minute, if we could start something now or put different, the guy that does my printing and stuff said if we could put, and he said he'd donate. Even one of the guys that does porta-johns out of Bear Lake is Jenna Mahoney's father. He would donate the porta-johns. I mean, pretty much all of it. I mean, other than the transportation, but still, that's huge when you look at, I remember when I did the bar, I had to have $95 a month for a porta-john, and then I had to pay $35 every week they cleaned it. For one person going to the bathroom. But, I mean, this is what we're looking at doing. But I just, I came here today, and of course, everybody was gonna come in. I have Craig Kent on part of the group, which, other than myself, it's Joanne Montgomery, Craig Kent, Jacqueline Morgan, Vicki Coons, Alicia Cook, Jenna Mahoney, and Denise Cummings. We all do have some other portions of people in this town that we could reach out to bring more into it. And I think that's why I wanted everybody that, and I'm tired of people, well, I'm not doing it if she does it, I'm not doing it if she does it.
That's small town living.
Huh?
That's small town living.
I've offered all my hug. I said, you guys need a hug that bad, I'll give it to you.
All right, what we're gonna do is, that's actually what I had written here, is to ask the board if they'd allow that.
Okay.
And how much, if anything, the board would wanna contribute to the fireworks.
Okay.
And then kind of set a date, we need, how much do you really think it's gonna cost? How much do we need a minimum to have for fireworks?
Right.
And then if you don't mind, I'll go into that. So my question was how much do we think the fireworks show needs to be? I don't think we should go anything less than what we've had in the past, which would have taken us around the $13,000 to $14,000 range this year. Does that
Right.
sound right to you?
For a 15-minute show.
For a 15-minute show. So let's extrapolate that out. The minimum show should be 14 grand, if that's kind of for the same show, unless we wanted to get it bigger. You know, and if you raise 17 grand, well, heck, of course we'd go 17 grand, but, you know, we just do it. And then what I was gonna ask with the board is, does the township still wanna make a donation of some type to the show in some amount?
Without knowing the cost, there's no way to commit to any amount of money. It'll probably go up again next year.
That's kind of where but I mean, do we wanna say 4,000, 3,000, 2,000?
No, we don't, not at this
Not
time.
you right now? I mean, does anybody else wanna do anything like that to think about what you wanna do? I
But we'd
mean,
have to know what the cost is gonna be before we can commit anything.
And what did you say, it went up 33% this year?
And we've already had it on the news that next year's gonna be at least 35 on top of that.
Okay.
Oh.
What, a question, and I like his idea of a fundraiser, how much time prior does he need to come up with the money so the permits and the order of the fireworks?
that
That's
would,
December.
that would be December. That's where the time frame we would need to
So
be
that
at.
would be a goal you have to look at.
It would be to say, and that's what I have in here is, you know,
You
would
have to have
be,
half of it.
we would have to have, on that, I think we would have to commit to having it all. Because if we put half and it doesn't come through, they come to set up the fireworks, somebody's gotta give them a check.
That's how
And-
we've always done it.
And if they don't have it and we don't have it committed, where's the check come from? You know what I mean? So we would need the money by,
All of it.
by like December on the amount of show you want to have. And then, so we would do that.
Would
So
they
we-
want half
so
of it down in December, or do we have to have it all?
I think we'd have to have it all, because if not, the board would have to commit to it. And then, so basically, if that would be like, we commit to a $15,000 show, we give them $8 grand, $7,000, the fireworks company's gonna say, I'm either taking them out of here, or I'm going to give you, you know, or the township would have to write a check for $7 grand that we didn't say we would, you know what I mean? So we would need to have the money in hand by then, by the December board meeting, and then we could call Great Lakes and say, hey, we would like to do the fireworks show.
Are you
Or
dead
another
set
company.
on Great Lakes?
No, we don't care on that, but that would be up to you to present other fireworks shows to us for the
The one
amount.
they just did in Irons is done by a company out of Benzonia. It was about $12,000.
Okay,
It's actually listed as a 19-minute show, but he ran 24 minutes, I think.
okay.
Some people say he just didn't shoot him off fast enough, was that what it was? But there's several different companies. Right now, with the one company in Benzonia, he said you figure about $8 per resident, and that's just about $14,000.
Yep.
And that is for what they consider their 19-minute show.
Yep.
And so total of setup and everything is 30 minutes.
And that's why the people in Irons they don't have a problem. It's all fundraised there.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I know people were upset about. We were one of the last public entities fundraising or paying for fireworks. Manistee doesn't, Onekama doesn't.
Well, Cadillac canceled theirs because they didn't have the funding, just
Yeah.
like we did. You know, we had to do here. Now, that's probably the closest I came to the hurt of the truth, but someone said they increased it 38%, and then other people said 34%. So that was one of the reasons why you're like a smaller show. But if the longer you get away from the 4th of July day itself, the less it is. You pay, if you want the 4th of July, it's premium rates. That's where they come into those different things. But there's 4 other companies. 2 are local and 1 is Great Lakes. And one guy I was already told do not even deal with, but these people are, they're licensed, they're insured, and the same as that, things like that. But I'm hoping that we can, I don't know if I can raise that much money for it now, between now and December.
Well, that would be where, like, next Tuesday, I got July Board of Review. We could have a meeting next, I'd have to check the board, but next Tuesday at 7. I could open it up to the committee and we could talk about this, but I think, and board members, please interject here, we would need a plan of what events they were, by December of next year, we would need the money, you know, in the account.
Maybe December this year.
December this year, yeah, okay. And then there would have to be a schedule of events, because the schedule of events, because you're not one entity, and we do have those, and this would be something, does the board have a problem with using our insurance as the rider cover, like we used to do for the up north on the
The
floor?
insurance company requires a list of the
Yes.
events.
Yeah, but it would be
Prior to-
the township has that insurance, we already have it on there, I mean, we have it that
If
we
we
have
sponsor it.
4th of July events. So it would be a community and with partnership, for the different groups to sponsor these events. We would just need to know a plan of what was happening where, type of thing, and the money.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of, we could talk about that in a non-formal get-together if you wanted to on next Tuesday, the 19th. If that would work for your group. I would be willing to do that, and, you know, we could have one other board member come if they wish. We can't have any more than 3 of us.
Well, that's one reason why I invited Craig Kent, because, he has access to all of you, where he could give you guys updates and let you know where we're at. I don't know if we can raise that kind of money between now and December. You're talking almost $3,000 a month.
Yeah.
Put it on the Talk of Wellston, do a donation.
Yeah, I mean, if as many people that,
Get a lot of
that
donations.
called me bad names, if they all gave $5, you could have no problem. I mean, and that's what people don't understand. It's a balancing act, and for that kind of money, there's other things that the township need. I mean, we just couldn't see going. And when we left the show, and I think all of us that were, well, were you there? I know the guy, we were there, Jason and Jordan and I. People said it was a nice show, but it was kind of, it was less. You know, it seemed shorter, and it was shorter. I think it was Dan Funk that recorded it the last 3 years in a row, and he said for the same money, you went from 22 minutes to 18 minutes to 15 minutes. You know, and it is a phenomenal show. It was what they call the low-level show, because we can't have, like in Irons, they can have the bigger mortars than what we have because of where our houses are at.
Yeah.
So it's a low level, very fast, a lot, and that's what people love. You know, it's quick, it's easy, it's great. But for us, for 13 grand, I mean, we all wanted it, but we all had to be, I mean, we gotta be responsible with y'all money, with everybody's money. So,
Well, that's one other thing to keep in mind with the fireworks, if you do shop around, is they have to be able to launch them remotely, because there's no room on the barge for them.
Yeah, I know.
yeah, and that's where maybe Great Lakes, I don't know if they still hand light them.
Yeah.
I know in Irons, last time I saw them, and it could be a different company, they were hand lighting them. We have to do it on the barge in the middle of the lake. We can't.
Because I know the controllers they use on the barge, those are $1,000 a piece, and they burn up.
Yep, and they're wasted. And that's where the gentleman that did it, and I know he used to do a wonderful show where they did it on the side, the shoreline. I wanna say 2-inch mortar was the biggest we could do there because of how close we were to the house. And the only way we got that show back, and that was when Kevin was here, Kevin and I, we talked to him, putting it in the middle of the lake, and that's when Kevin and I and Jordan and Jason, we built those barges, so that we could get in the middle of the lake, so we had more room to set the bigger mortars off.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go ahead.
Correct me if I'm speaking out of term, but, are you asking him to raise the full amount for the fireworks? Or is the community still willing to kick in what they normally spend? And he's going over and beyond which was in the meeting, say back in February, when you said they were canceled, that you needed X amount more dollars to have the fireworks. And if the funds were raised, you could have done it. So I don't know if you're matching some of his fundraiser, or are you asking him come up with the $18,000 that's needed?
Right now, I think the board would want another month to think about it,
Okay.
because we have to look at where we are fiscally, our bills are going up. You know, everybody's are, I mean, that's the scary part about this, and that's why I asked the board, I said, we were doing 88, 89, 92, somewhere in there, whatever it was. Would everybody be comfortable with 3,000? Would everybody be comfortable with 4,000? You know, I would like everybody to have a month to think about that.
Well, my
and then
point
come up
is,
with
is why it's out on the table now. Say the community sticks to, say, the 12,000, and you pull the permits, everything needed, and he raises the difference, say, the 18 or 20,000 for, that would be a real nice show.
Yeah, I mean, we never did the 12,000. We were maxed out at 8,900, I do believe, was that
Okay,
the last time?
see, I don't know the numbers.
Yeah.
Okay, so say you came up with, let's go 8,000, you come up with that. If he raises the difference to your 15,000, and would you accept something like that?
That would be for the board to talk about. I had a lot of community members that have lived up there their whole life and never been to that fireworks show.
That's
And
our
we're
own
thankful,
fault.
but they also, called me, called the office and said, thank you for not spending our money, we didn't think it was worth it. So it is a balancing act that we have to play, I personally, and this is just me personally, not these other 4 members, I would like us to see contribute something. Whether it be 2 to 4 or 5,000, I don't know if we can do the 8,000 because there are other things in the community that we need, but I would like to see it be a joint effort.
Yeah, that's
You
what
know,
I'm asking.
maybe 1/3, my
worked
thought
at
is
that
a
properly.
1/3, 2/3 thing, so say it's 15 grand, if we did 5, you guys came up with 10, the community at large came up, if they want them so bad, then it should be easy to come up with,
Well,
right?
you're not gonna please everybody, so
No,
don't
so
try.
it's a way with the changing times, we can make that work.
Right.
But see, the problem, like you said, small town problem, and the thing that is, and Richard, I own the Redneck Yacht Club, but, the thing is same with us. Our food increases have went up 60% in this summer alone, and I can only imagine, I think I said to Mary one time when she stopped in, is if anybody wants to complain about her, I said, have them come and spend a day with you and let them know your job was, they'll leave you alone.
Yeah.
Because you can't deal with these people, you can't, we've removed stuff from our menu because, our chicken went to $3.04 a pound.
I used to,
Things like that, but it's happening everywhere. This could change. We could have, Great Lakes could give us a quote tomorrow saying it's gonna be this amount, and then they show up the day they're gonna do it and say, you owe us an extra $5,000. We're sorry.
Yeah, so,
And
Bill,
that's the problem.
I think at this time, what I'd like to do is, if the 19th, I'll give you got my number, don't you?
Yeah, but you never answer.
Yeah, no, this thing's always on me. If you,
It's him, no.
if you say, let's tentatively do the 19th. Brainstorm ideas, something I can bring back to the board, see what flies, what sticks, what doesn't, and then we can talk about monies maybe in there too and see what we could do. And just I'll meet with your group. If any one of the other board members wanna meet there, they can do that too. So the 19th at 7 o'clock, does that work?
Now, you wanna do it here, or you wanna do it at the bar, or?
Here, probably. The bar, nothing will get done.
Huh?
No, I'll be here for board review at
We
6
had our
o'clock.
first one at the bar, and they're going, wow, oh, and I goes, I got coffee, people, or tea, what do you want?
Yeah.
My wife wouldn't let me give away liquor, I don't know why, but,
Sound good?
sounds good, thank you.
Okay, buddy.
Is this a meeting the public can come to, Billy?
It's open to everybody. It's not a meeting. It's a get together of these groups.
Okay.
There's nothing official about it.
So if
Okay.
people wanna donate, they can come.
Would you want more information from the bank aspects for people?
If you wanna track that down, you can. I mean, it's just ideas if you wanna think, so that I can bring it back to the board and kinda talk to the board about that, and I can kinda do a synopsis to them of what you were all thinking. I mean, we used to do I would imagine you're trying to think of like the Up North on the 4th that we used to do, where it was an all-day event, it was the fireworks, yeah, so.
Oh, so if any of you guys here, there's a guy that does, Jell-O shots. It's not an alcoholic drink, and it was a joke about against the board, so.
Okay.
I made a joke, it's a Jell-O shotgun, it's like a Nerf gun, but you get teams of 5.
Gotcha.
And then each team gets 700 shots. So there's flag of you, and I have anybody in public.
Okay.
So it was a joke, I was
All
kidding.
right.
Just in case somebody tells you Bill wanted to shoot you with a Jell-O shot.
No, that's fine. No big deal. All right. Anybody else with public comment other than the fireworks thing?
I forgot one thing on the
Yeah.
sheet.
Yeah.
Last 4th of July weekend, I had an anonymous donor come up and ask about a Helo pad, LZ pad, out here. And depending on the price of the concrete, I could possibly have the concrete paid for. So what would the board think of a Lighted helicopters, if it's concrete pad, permanent pad, we gotta have 8 lights on it.
And that's fenced in also?
What's that?
Is that fenced in also?
It probably should be, so that it doesn't get
Drove on?
vandalized
Right.
and whatnot. But, he wanted me to approach the board on that. I think it'd be a heck of a good idea.
Tell us what you really think.
And so he wanted me just to check in and I gotta figure out some other pricing and
Yeah.
just to see if it's even feasible to do with the septic systems and where everything is at.
Yeah.
So I told him I would check into it.
Well, if the gardens need to be moved, that's not a problem, we can move those.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, okay, that's all I got.
Yeah,
Thank you.
wonderful. All right. Another public comment? Okay. All right, so we'll move on to the unfinished business of seal coating parking lots and drives. So this would be this parking lot, this would be the fire department parking lot, this would be the court, and this would be the roadway going down for Robinson Landing.
And the transfer station.
And the trans, yeah. So
Everything.
basically, yeah, all the blacktop we have here, the court that needs it so it doesn't crack up, and then Robinson, the boat launch road. So, we have the bid for, there they are. The total bid for Wolfgang Paving to do, and he gave us last year's price, so he kept, right, Jason, he kept it right at last year's prices.
30 cents a square foot.
30 cents a square foot. This included the lining, or no?
Yeah.
Yes,
lining
the
too.
relining, yep. So I have 27, this is for the boat ramp, and then 16.6, which would be, if my math is correct, that's 19.3. Okay? And I do believe this could be one of the things that we take out of the COVID money.
We're looking for bids.
So, does anybody have any comments on this?
We need to do it.
Yes.
Cheaper than new asphalt.
Well, my main thing is, look how long it took us to get Robinson Landing done to begin with. And if we can prolong it, you know, cause if it gets all screwed up, who knows how long it'll be before we're able to do that again.
Preventive maintenance.
Robinson was 15 years ago, and it was $45,000.
Exactly.
I mean, this is everything plus that, just to put more life on it. You basically gotta reapply tar to keep it together, or is that?
And they're actually wanting to do this next month, if it's approved.
Well, does anybody else have any other comment on it, any board members?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, so for the 19.3 Wolfgang. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
The only thing is we'll have to do is we'll have to make some kind of figure out what day it's gonna be and then let people know at the backwaters that it'll be closed.
Yes, we'll have to shut down the back.
Yeah.
Tell them we just can't let them do it on a Friday.
When
Yeah.
the time comes, part of the fire department lot, we want lines.
It's gonna be a 2-day project.
Okay.
They're gonna do
We want
part of it one
lines-
day and then the other part the next day.
Lines different than how they are now.
Oh, okay, so.
Okay.
We want our parking area angled,
You want it mangled?
coming in there
Yes.
when we
Okay.
pull up in front, because now they're straight in. And unless you drive a little team.
I can let him know, that's not a
Well,
problem.
yeah, so I wanna get together with whoever it is when they do
Okay.
it on the striking on it.
And I
Well,
would-
we're probably gonna have the rigs out of there too.
And I would
Yeah.
imagine we're gonna need the rigs parked somewhere.
Everybody has to take a truck home.
Is
Well, that's why I said they're gonna do it they're gonna do part of the driveway one day. That way they can get in and out still. And then they'll move to the other side the next day.
If we
And then
have-
get all the other side done.
If there's 6 bays and they do 3 bays, those 3 trucks
Won't be there.
won't get out on the tar to get around.
Oh, that makes sense.
It would be better just you figure out where you're
We'll
gonna
Yeah,
take 'em
we'll
home.
figure that out.
Yeah.
Is that doing the behind the station 2 drive going out?
I bet you, I'm sure
All the
I'll talk to him, I'll see if we'll just throw that in, he probably would.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, So we had a motion to do it for 19.3. Everybody vote aye? Any nays? Okay, we're done. Tell Wolfgang, get her done.
Okay, I'll call him tomorrow, cause he called me today.
And I give you the money or him send it to him?
I told him what's
He's
gonna
gotta have
happen.
50% down.
Right, and I said upon approval, I will get him your information to get hold of you, so then you guys can do your thing.
Here, I signed that one.
I've already signed him.
Fine, paid for it. She's the one writing the check. All right, okay. Now, the next thing we've got is new business. We have to do, the approval of the special assessment district. This is the trash, so this is roll call.
What?
Roll call for special assessment,
Oh,
for
you don't want
resolution.
to tell them what it is?
It's all the trash.
It's, this resolution sets the actual district,
Okay.
the terms, which is 3 years, and how we come up with the cost, which is dividing the total number that it's gonna cost us, that we're proposing, divided by the number of parcels. So a letter's going to go out to all the property owners that are going to be affected and give them an opportunity to object to this, so. Okay? Ty,
Yes.
Skira,
Yes.
Soul, yes, Mobley,
Yes.
Fraley,
Yes.
okay.
Okay, approved by roll. All right, now the next one, and Jordan, I'll let you kind of go through this. This is Neeson Excavating to give us, to tear out the existing dock at Robinson.
So we got some issues going on with our dock down at Robinson. I don't know, something's way off down there. The dock is like 3 or 4 feet almost away from where the concrete is now. The decking's going bad on it and it's heaved, and part of the weld there broke on one side. So, our plan is to install 2 new, 30-foot docks, like what is there, but 1 on each side, so we have room for more. And that is also putting in a concrete little walkway to get off of the boat ramp onto the dock, so that we're not gonna call it handicap accessible, cause I think that ramp is too steep. But if somebody was to go down there, they should be able to wheel right onto the dock instead of having to go through that mud and whatever else there. But yeah, that bid is for $25,000 to remove that one and put the 2 new ones in. And he said if we are able to do it, it wouldn't be until fall. And I would say if we did do it, at that point you might as well wait till spring, cause it'd just be one less winter that the ice is beating it up.
Man, I do believe this is infrastructure. I think it's fundable again through
Yep.
that.
We'll make a motion to approve the 25,000 for the
Are we
boat
gonna
docks.
look into the other one also?
Yes, we're gonna get a bid for him, just real quick before you make that motion. The talk between us is we have to go out there and look at it. The handicap fishing dock at Crystal Lake is not handicap accessible. It's over $10,000 to put a concrete switchback in there so that a handicap wheelchair or walker could actually get down a slope steep enough.
Slope's too steep.
Slope's too steep,
Yeah.
it's a drop off. That dock also dries up,
Yeah,
and when the
it's
water's
not
level's low, you go out there and mud. So we were thinking down by the boat launch, which is the lower, less slopable, it's
Yeah.
within grade now, putting one there.
Right.
And getting a price from him to do that also.
Right.
Because the fishing dock has heaved and it is broken also. I mean, these docks have been in there 30 years, so.
But
So, we will, so let's just do a
you
motion on
wanna
this.
approve this though tonight?
I would like to approve this, because I would like to get this in and get this
Yeah,
ordered
'cause
before
they need-
steel prices
They
go
need
up.
half of the money up front.
Yes.
Okay, so I did make the motion.
I'll second it.
Jason, second.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
You can sign that, it takes 2 signatures.
All right, so we have that. And then, the other thing is just like a housekeeping thing. We just, like I said, there was an error in the poverty guidelines, so I just want to readopt them with the master having the complete information on it. So I just need a motion to adopt the resolution for poverty guidelines exemptions from property tax contributions.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Actually, this is a resolution. You gotta call roll call on that. I'm sorry. That was my bad. It's a resolution. It has to be roll call. Sorry.
Okay.
That was my fault. I jumped the gun. Sorry.
Mobley,
Yes.
Ty,
Yes.
Skiera,
Yes.
Soul, yes, Fraley.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. All right, I just need one more motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, thank y'all for coming. Let me get your information though real quick. And then I will try to get this. Bob was just here today, I was talking to him.